You're not good enough, Nathan. My father's words hit me like a punch to the gut. We sat in his corner office at Harrison and Sons Construction, the company my grandfather built 50 years ago. The company I'd worked at since I was 16, sweating through summers on job sites, learning every aspect of the business. Maybe your brother will take over one day. He has the vision this company needs. I stare at my father, Robert Harrison, the man I'd spent my entire life trying to impress. My younger brother Kyle sat beside him, smirking. Kyle, who joined the company 2 years ago after dropping out of college. Kyle, who showed up late, left early, and spent more time on his phone than working. Dad, I've been here for 12 years. I've managed our biggest projects. Our clients trust me. Clients trust the Harrison name. My father interrupted. Not you specifically. Kyle understands legacy. He thinks bigger. You're just a good worker, Nathan. That's all you'll ever be. The promotion I'd been promised, the vice president position, went to Kyle that afternoon. I walked out of that office, knowing I'd never be good enough in my father's eyes. But maybe I didn't need to be. That night, I sat in my small apartment staring at the walls. 12 years of 60-hour weeks, of proving myself on every job site, of sacrificing relationships and opportunities because I believed in the family business. All of it meant nothing. My phone buzzed. A text from Kyle. No hard feelings. Bro Dad knows what's best. I threw the phone across the room. No hard feelings? He'd stolen my position, my future, everything I'd worked for, and he thought a text made it okay. I opened my laptop and started making a list. Every skill I had, every client relationship I'd built, every contact in the construction industry. Then I looked at my savings account. $47,000. Not much, but enough to start something small. By 3 a.m., I'd made my decision. I wasn't going to beg my father for recognition anymore. I was going to build my own company from scratch. And I was going to prove that being just a good worker was exactly what the construction industry needed. The next morning, I walked into my father's office and quit. He barely looked up from his paperwork. Good luck out there, Nathan. You'll be back. I registered my company name that week. Build Right Solutions. Simple, direct, honest. Everything my father's company used to be before it got too big and stopped caring about quality. I used $35,000 of my savings to buy basic equipment and rent a small office space. The remaining $12,000 was my safety net, enough to survive maybe 4 months if I was careful. My first potential client was a small property developer named Susan Martinez. I'd met her 2 years ago when Harrison and Sons did a project for her company. She specifically requested me as project manager. Nathan, I heard you left your father's company, Susan said when I called. I'm starting my own construction firm. I wanted to reach out because I valued working with you. There was a pause. I appreciate that, but I've worked with Harrison and Sons for 5 years. We have history. I understand. But if you're ever looking for a contractor who actually shows up on time and stays within budget, call me. She laughed. Your father's company has been late on our last 3 projects. I know. I was the one fixing those problems behind the scenes. Another pause. Send me a proposal for the Jefferson Street project. Let's see what you can do. I spent 3 days on Susan's proposal, crafting something that Harrison and Sons would never bother with. Detailed timelines, transparent pricing, and a personal guarantee that I'd be on site every day. My father's company sent generic proposals now, relying on their name recognition, rather than actual service. Susan called me back with bad news. Nathan, I really want to work with you, but I can't risk our relationship with Harrison and Sons. They're too established. I'm sorry. The rejection stung, but I understood. My father's company had 40 employees, decades of history, and a reputation built by my grandfather. I was one guy with a truck and a dream, but I didn't give up. I called every small developer I knew, everyone who'd ever complained about my father's company getting too big, too slow, too expensive. Most said no. A few said maybe. One said yes. Tom Chin needed a small office renovation, budget of $15,000. Not glamorous, but it was a start. I'm taking a chance on you, Tom said. Don't make me regret it. I finished this project in 3 weeks, under budget and ahead of schedule. Tom was thrilled. Why doesn't your father's company work like this anymore? Because they forgot that construction is about people, not just profits. Tom Chin referred me to his business partner, Maria Rodriguez. She needed a warehouse renovation, budget of $80,000. This was my first real project, big enough to prove I could handle serious work. Maria was skeptical. You're awfully young to be running your own company, and you only have one completed project. That's true, but I have 12 years of experience managing projects 3 times this size. And unlike bigger companies, you'll have my personal attention every single day. She hired me with one condition. I had to beat Harrison and Sons' timeline by 2 weeks. I agreed immediately. The project was brutal. I worked 16-hour days, did half the labor myself to save costs, and coordinated every subcontractor personally. No detail was too small. No problem was someone else's responsibility. 3 weeks in, Maria visited the site. Nathan, this is incredible. You're ahead of schedule. That's the plan. I've worked with your father's company before. They're good, but nobody there cares like you do. They're just collecting a paycheck. I finished your project 5 days early and $3,000 under budget. Maria's testimonial became my best marketing tool. Within a month, I had 3 more clients, all of them frustrated with big construction companies that had stopped caring. My father's company was losing clients, and he didn't even know I was the reason why. 6 months into running BuildRight Solutions, I landed my biggest contract yet, a $200,000 commercial renovation for Westside Properties. They'd worked with Harrison and Sons for years, but were fed up with delays and cost overruns. Your father's company quoted us $280,000 and a 6-month timeline, the CEO told me. Can you really do it for $200,000 in 4 months? Yes, because I don't have the overhead of a 40-person company, and I actually show up to job sites. I won the contract. The same week, I learned that Kyle had botched a major project at Harrison and Sons. A client was threatening to sue because the work was 3 months behind schedule and the quality was terrible. My father had to personally step in to fix the mess. Part of me felt satisfaction. Kyle had stolen my promotion, and now he was proving he wasn't qualified for it. But another part of me felt sad. The company my grandfather built was falling apart under my father's poor judgment. I hired my first 2 employees that month, Marco, an experienced carpenter, and Jessica, a project coordinator. Both had quit Harrison and Sons because of Kyle's incompetence. Your brother is a disaster, Jessica told me. He doesn't know what he's doing, but your father won't admit it. That's not my problem anymore, I said, but deep down it still hurt. My father called me for the first time in 8 months. Nathan, I hear you're poaching my clients. His voice was cold. I'm not poaching anyone, Dad. I'm offering better service. You're stealing from family, from the company that gave you everything. I almost laughed. The company that told me I wasn't good enough? That company? You're being childish. This vendetta will destroy you. It's not a vendetta. It's business. Maybe a Harrison and Sons focus on quality instead of legacy. You wouldn't be losing clients. He hung up on me. That conversation should have made me angry, but instead, I felt liberated. I'd spent 12 years seeking his approval. Now I realized I didn't need it. My company had grown to 8 employees. We completed 15 projects with a perfect satisfaction rating. Revenue was approaching $500,000 for the year. Small compared to Harrison and Sons' $8 million, but growing fast. Then doubt crept in. Was I really better than my father? Or was I just lucky? Was I building something meaningful or just rebelling against my past? That night, I received an anonymous email. Nathan, I've been watching your company. You have real talent. Keep building. Stay focused. You're on the right path. No signature. No identifying information. Just encouragement from a stranger who somehow knew about my work. The mysterious emails continued over the next few months. Always encouraging, always offering subtle guidance. Focus on commercial projects. That's where the real growth is. Hire slowly. Character matters more than experience. Your father's company is losing ground. Don't celebrate. Just keep building. I tried tracking emails, but they came from different IP addresses across the country. Whoever this benefactor was, they were either traveling constantly or using sophisticated routing technology. The advice was always valuable. I followed it and watched my company grow. Meanwhile, Harrison and Sons was struggling. Kyle had alienated 3 major clients with his arrogance and incompetence. My father was spending more time fixing problems than building new business. One of those alienated clients called me, David Park, owner of Park Development Group. He'd worked with my father for 10 years. Nathan, I'm done with your father's company. Kyle is impossible to work with, and your father makes excuses instead of fixing problems. I have a $400,000 project. Are you big enough to handle it? That was the question. My biggest project so far was $200,000. This would double my annual revenue and require hiring more people. It was risky, but it was also the opportunity I'd been building toward. Yes, I said, I can handle it. The park development project was my proving ground. 4 months, $400,000, and my reputation on the line. I hired for more employees and rented a larger office space. The growth was exciting but terrifying. What if I failed? What if my father was right about me? Then another anonymous email arrived. You're ready for this, Nathan. Trust your instincts. You've always known more than your father gave you credit for. Those words hit hard. My mysterious benefactor had been guiding me for months, and I still had no idea who they were. But their support kept me going when doubt crept in. The project started smoothly. We hit every milestone, stayed within budget, and David was thrilled with our work. Then, 6 weeks in, disaster struck. One of my subcontractors went bankrupt, leaving us without electrical work completed and a major deadline approaching. I spent 2 days frantically calling every electrician I knew, trying to find someone who could step in immediately. Finally, an electrician named Robertson agreed to help, but at a higher cost. It would eat into my profit margin, but the project would stay on schedule. David noticed my stress during a site visit. Problems? He asked. Nothing I can't handle, I replied. Your father would have blamed the subcontractor and delayed the project. David said, that's why I hired you instead. My father requested a meeting. We met at a neutral location, a coffee shop neither of us usually frequented. He looked older, more tired than I remembered. Nathan, this competition between us needs to stop, he said without preamble. You're actively sabotaging my company. I'm running my own business, Dad. That's not sabotage. You're stealing my clients with lies and promises you can't keep. My hands clench around my coffee cup. I haven't lied to anyone. I offer better service at better prices. If that's stealing, then your company has bigger problems. You ungrateful, he stopped himself, taking a breath. I gave you 12 years of training. You learned everything from me, and now you're using it against me. You told me I wasn't good enough. You gave my promotion to Kyle, who's destroying everything Grandpa built. I didn't start this competition, Dad. You did when you rejected me. We sat in tense silence. Finally, my father spoke quietly. Come back to Harrison and Sons. We'll figure out a role for you. You've proven yourself. I almost laughed. A role for me? Dad, I'm not interested in being your employee anymore. I built something of my own, something I'm proud of. You're making a mistake. Maybe, but it's my mistake to make. 3 weeks after that meeting, I received the opportunity I'd been building toward. Global Tech Industries, one of the largest tech companies in the region, wanted to renovate their headquarters. Budget, $1.2 million. They'd worked with Harrison and Son for years, but recent projects had been disasters. Kyle had managed their last renovation, and it was 3 months late and $200,000 over budget. We're looking for a new contractor. Their facilities director told me. Your name came up. But frankly, you're pretty small for a project this size. That's true, but small means I'll be personally involved every day. I'll know every detail of your project, not delegate it to someone who doesn't care. Your father's company has 50 employees. You have 12. My father's company has 50 employees who are collecting paychecks. I have 12 people who actually care about quality work. Ask any of my clients. She asked me to submit a proposal. I spent a week on it, creating the most detailed plan I'd ever written. Timeline, budget, contingencies, quality guarantees. Everything Global Tech needed to feel confident in my smaller company. When I submitted it, I felt both excited and terrified. This was the make or break moment. If I won this contract, BuildRight Solutions would become a major player in the industry. If I lost it, I'd always wonder if I'd reach my ceiling. While waiting for Global Tech's decision, the competition with my father intensified. Harrison & Sons started aggressively pursuing every client I approached, undercutting my prices and making promises they couldn't keep. My father was fighting back, trying to protect his empire from his own son. Jessica, my project coordinator, brought me concerning news. Nathan, your father's company is spreading rumors about us. They're telling potential clients we're inexperienced and unreliable. That's a lie. I know, but some people believe it. We lost the Martinez project because of these rumors. I was furious. My father had rejected me, but I'd never resorted to lies or sabotage. I competed fairly, offering better service. Now he was fighting dirty. I called him immediately. Dad, you can compete with me. But spreading false information crosses a line. I don't know what you're talking about, he said coldly. Yes, you do. Kyle told 3 potential clients that BuildRight Solutions cuts corners and doesn't follow safety regulations. That's defamation. Maybe you should sue me. Oh, wait, you can't afford a lawyer. The call ended. My father had declared war, but he'd made a critical mistake. I still had relationships with honest clients who saw through his lies. Global Tech called with their decision. Nathan, we're awarding you the contract. Your proposal was the most impressive we've received, and your clients gave you glowing references. We're trusting you with our largest project. I hung up and sat in stunned silence. $1.2 million. The contract that would establish BuildRight Solutions as a major construction company. Then reality hit. This wasn't just about beating my father anymore. It was about managing a project that could make or break my company. I needed more employees, better equipment, and flawless execution. The pressure was enormous. That evening, I received another anonymous email. Congratulations on the Global Tech contract. This is your moment, Nathan. Don't let the pressure consume you. Stay focused on what you do best. Showing up, care about quality, and treating people with respect. That's why you're winning. I stared at the message. My mysterious benefactor had known about the contract before I'd told anyone. Who were they, and how did they have such detailed information about my business? I tried to track the email again, but like all the others, it was untraceable. Someone was watching my career closely, guiding me toward success. But why? What did they gain from helping me? Those questions haunted me, but I didn't have time to dwell on them. I had the biggest project of my life to execute. The Global Tech project revealed just how far my father would go to defeat me. 2 weeks into construction, I discovered that Kyle had contacted my subcontractors, offering them more money to abandon my project and work for Harrison & Sons instead. 3 of them accepted. I was left scrambling to find replacements, which delayed the timeline by a week. But this betrayal backfired on my father. When other subcontractors heard what Harrison & Sons had done, they refused to work with Kyle. Word spread through the industry that my father's company was sabotaging competitors instead of competing fairly. My phone rang constantly with subcontractors offering to help me. What your father did is wrong, one told me. We're with you, Nathan. The construction community rallied around me. Harrison & Sons' reputation, built over 50 years, was crumbling because my father had chosen sabotage over integrity. I should have felt victorious, but I just felt sad. The company my grandfather built was destroying itself. Then I learned the full truth. My father was deliberately spreading false rumors about my company to potential clients. He'd told multiple people that BuildRight Solutions had failed safety inspections, cut corners on materials, and left projects unfinished. All lies. This pushed me to a decision. I couldn't just compete anymore. I had to decisively win this war and prove my father wrong once and for all. The business war between Harrison and Sons and BuildRight Solutions reached its peak. Every client we approached, my father approached with aggressive counteroffers. Every project we won, he tried to undermine with rumors and sabotage. Industry magazines started writing about the Harrison family civil war, calling it one of the most intense rivalries in regional construction. But I was winning. BuildRight Solutions had 20 employees now, annual revenue approaching $3 million, and a reputation for quality that Harrison and Sons couldn't match anymore. My father's company was still larger, but their client base was eroding. Companies were tired of empty promises, cost overruns, and Kyle's incompetence. Meanwhile, I was delivering every project on time and within budget. The global tech renovation was progressing perfectly. I was on site every day, solving problems before they became disasters, treating every worker with respect. Global Tech's facilities director told me, "Your father's company treated this building like just another project. You treat it like it's your masterpiece." That comment meant everything to me. Then I received an offer that would change everything. A private equity firm wanted to invest $2 million in BuildRight Solutions to help me expand rapidly. "We see major potential," they told me. "With our capital, you could grow to 50 employees within a year. You could compete directly with Harrison and Sons at every level." The investment offer seemed perfect, but something felt wrong. I called the firm to ask more questions, and their answers were vague. They wanted significant control over my company, wanted to make decisions about which projects to pursue, and seemed more interested in destroying Harrison and Sons and building BuildRight Solutions. I declined the offer. That night, the mysterious benefactor emailed again. "Smart decision, Nathan. That firm was a trap. They're connected to your father's biggest competitor. They wanted to use you to destroy Harrison and Sons, then absorb your company. Stay independent. Keep building at your own pace." I read the email 3 times. How did this person know about the offer? How did they know it was a trap? And why did they care so much about protecting me? I replied to the email for the first time. "Who are you? Why are you helping me?" The response came within minutes. "You'll know soon enough. For now, focus on the Global Tech project. It's about to open doors you can't imagine." 2 weeks later, Global Tech's CEO personally visited the construction site. He walked through every floor, examining the work closely. When he found me reviewing blueprints, he extended his hand. "Nathan, this is exceptional work. Your attention to detail is exactly what we needed." "Thank you, sir. It's been my priority. We're expanding to 3 more locations next year. Would BuildRight Solutions be interested in managing all 3 renovations?" The decision before me was massive. Global Tech was offering contracts worth potentially $5 million over 2 years. This would transform BuildRight Solutions from a small competitor into a major construction firm. But there was a complication. One of those 3 locations was currently being renovated by Harrison and Sons. If I accepted Global Tech's offer, I'd be directly replacing my father's company on an active project, taking their work, their revenue, their reputation. It would be the ultimate victory in our war, but it would also devastate my father's company, possibly destroy it completely. I sat with this decision for 3 days. Part of me wanted revenge. My father had rejected me, sabotaged me, spread lies about me. He'd chosen Kyle over me despite 12 years of dedicated work. He deserved this defeat. But another part of me remembered my grandfather, who built Harrison and Sons with integrity and hard work. Did I want to be the person who destroyed his legacy? Jessica found me staring at the contract one evening. "What's wrong?" she asked. "I'm trying to decide if winning means destroying my father." "Your father tried to destroy you," she pointed out. "You're just better at this than he is." "I know, but if I do this, there's no going back. Our relationship will be over forever. Nathan, your relationship ended when he told you that you weren't good enough. This is just business now." I was ready to accept Global Tech's offer when a mysterious benefactor finally revealed themselves. The email arrived with a phone number. "Call me. It's time we talked. Margaret Harrison." Margaret Harrison, my grandfather's sister, my great-aunt who'd left for California 40 years ago and supposedly cut ties with the family. I called immediately. An elderly woman answered. Nathan, I've been waiting for this conversation. You're my mysterious benefactor? You've been guiding me this whole time? Yes, I've been watching you since you started Build Right Solutions. Actually, I've been watching you much longer than that. She paused. Your grandfather was my brother. I loved him dearly. When he built Harrison and Sons, I helped finance it. I owned 30% of the company. I didn't know that. Your father doesn't like talking about me. We had a falling out when he took over the company. He wanted to prioritize profits over quality. I disagreed, so I sold my shares and left. Why help me? I asked, because you remind me of my brother. You care about doing good work, treating people fairly, building something that matters. Your father forgot those values. When I heard he'd rejected you, I knew you'd do something special. I just wanted to make sure you succeeded. Tears filled my eyes. Thank you. I don't know what to say. Say you'll use your success wisely. Say you won't become like your father, focused only on winning and ego. I promise. Armed with the truth about my benefactor, I made my final decision. I accepted Global Tech's offer for all 3 locations, including the one currently being handled by Harrison and Sons. Global Tech terminated their contract with my father's company due to repeated delays and quality issues. I was taking over their biggest client. My father called me the day the news broke. You've won, Nathan. Congratulations. You destroyed your own father's company. His voice was broken, defeated. I didn't destroy your company, Dad. You did. You chose Kyle over competence. You chose sabotage over integrity. You forgot everything Grandpa Bill Harrison and Sons to be. You're taking food out of my mouth, out of your brother's mouth. No, I'm taking a client that you failed to serve properly. If you'd done the job right, they wouldn't have left. Silence stretched between us. Did I really hurt you that badly? My father asked quietly. When I gave Kyle a promotion? You told me I wasn't good enough, that I'd never be more than a good worker. Yes, Dad, that hurt. I was wrong, he said. So, quietly I almost didn't hear it. You're more than good enough. You're better than I ever was. We sat with that admission. Then my father continued. Can we talk? Not about business. About family. We met the next week at that same coffee shop. My father looked older, smaller somehow. Defeat had humbled him in a way success never could. I don't expect forgiveness, my father began. I rejected you. I sabotaged you. I said terrible things. You have every right to hate me. I stirred my coffee. Consider my words carefully. I don't hate you, Dad. I'm angry and hurt. But hatred takes too much energy. Kyle quit the company, he said suddenly. He admitted he was never qualified for the VP position. He only took it because I pushed him to. He's going back to school. That's probably the right choice for him. The right choice would have been giving you that promotion 3 years ago. My father's voice cracked. You were always the one. I was afraid. Afraid of what? That you were better than me. That you'd take over the company and prove I wasn't as good as my father. So I rejected you first, before you could surpass me. The honesty was stunning. My father, who'd seemed so confident and certain, had been driven by insecurity the whole time. What happens now? I asked. Harrison and Sons is hemorrhaging clients. We have maybe 6 months before bankruptcy. I've spent the last week trying to figure out how to save 50 years of legacy. He looked at me with desperate eyes. I know I have no right to ask, but I need help, Nathan. Not for me, for Grandpa's legacy. I'd imagined this moment for months. My father, humbled and begging. I'd thought it would feel satisfying. Instead, it just felt sad. I sat across from my father, watching him wait for my answer. Part of me wanted to walk away, let Harrison and Sons collapse as punishment for everything he'd done. But Margaret's words echoed in my mind. Don't become like your father, focused only on winning and ego. I'll help you, I said finally, but not the way you think. My father's eyes lit up with hope. I'm not giving you money. I'm not bailing out Harrison and Sons, but I will teach you what I learned over the past 3 years. How to run a construction company that actually cares about quality. I don't understand. You've forgotten how to do good work, Dad. You're so focused on profits and legacy that you've lost sight of what Grandpa built the company on. Treating people fairly, delivering quality, showing up every single day. I pulled out a notebook. Here's what you're going to do. Fire half your staff. Keep only the people who actually care about construction. Stop taking projects you can't handle properly. Focus on doing fewer projects excellently instead of many projects poorly. That's business suicide, my father protested. That's how BuildRight Solutions went from 0 to $5 million in 3 years. Small, excellent, focused. That's how Grandpa started, and it worked. My father listened as I laid out a complete restructuring plan for Harrison and Sons. Smaller, leaner, focus on quality over quantity. It would be painful, but it might save the company. To my surprise, my father followed my advice. Harrison and Sons laid off 25 employees, keeping only the skilled workers who cared about quality. They stopped bidding on every project and focused on a few clients they could serve excellently. It was brutal. My father's pride was shattered. The company he'd built to 50 employees was now back to 25. But something changed. The work got better. Clients stopped complaining. Projects finished on time and within budget. 6 months after our conversation, Harrison and Sons landed a major contract with a client who valued quality over size. My father called me with the news. We did it, Nathan. We're going to survive. I'm proud of you, Dad. It takes courage to admit when you're wrong and change. I had a good teacher. We started meeting monthly for coffee, not to discuss business competition, but to share advice. 2 construction company owners who happened to be father and son. I told him about my challenges scaling BuildRight Solutions. He shared lessons from his 30 years running Harrison and Sons. Slowly, painfully, we rebuilt our relationship. It would never be what it was before, but it was honest now. Real. Built on mutual respect instead of father-son obligation. Kyle reached out to apologize. I never should have taken that promotion. I wasn't ready and I knew it. I let Dad push me into something I couldn't handle. What are you doing now? I asked. Business school. Learning to do things properly before I try to run anything again. I respected that. BuildRight Solutions hit $10 million in annual revenue in year 4. We employed 50 people and had a waiting list of clients. Global Tech awarded us 5 more projects. Other major companies were calling. I'd proven my father wrong in every possible way. But the victory felt different than I'd imagined. It wasn't about defeating him anymore. It was about building something meaningful, treating people well, doing work I was proud of. One afternoon, my father visited my office. He looked around at the bustling workspace, the happy employees, the wall of completed projects. You did it right, Nathan. This is what Harrison and Sons should have been. It's what Grandpa wanted it to be. I replied, I just remembered his lessons. Can I show you something? My father pulled out a folder. Inside were documents transferring 30% ownership of Harrison and Sons to me. What is this? Margaret called me, he said. Told me the whole story about how she helped you. Made me realize something. You're not my competitor. You're my successor. Not at BuildRight Solutions. At carrying forward Grandpa's legacy of quality construction. Dad, I don't want Harrison and Sons. I'm not giving it to you now. But when I retire in 5 years, I want you to have it. Maybe merge it with BuildRight Solutions. Maybe keep them separate. Your choice. Just promise me you'll preserve what Grandpa built. I looked at the documents, then at my father. He was offering me everything I'd wanted 3 years ago. But now, I'd built my own legacy. I accepted my father's offer, but with conditions. Harrison and Sons stays separate from BuildRight Solutions. 2 companies, 2 legacies. Grandpa's and mine. But we cooperate, not compete. My father agreed. Over the next year, something unexpected happened. Harrison and Sons and BuildRight Solutions started referring clients to each other. When a client was too big for my company, I sent them to my father. When a client needed the personal touch that only a smaller firm could provide, he sent them to me. We even partnered on several projects, combining Harrison and Sons' experience with BuildRight Solutions' innovation. The construction community watched in amazement as the Harrison family Civil War transformed into the Harrison Family Partnership. I promoted Jessica to COO of BuildRight Solutions. Marco became head of operations. My team, who believed in me from beginning, now led a thriving company. My father did the same at Harrison and Sons, promoting the people who'd stayed loyal during the hard times. Both companies were stronger for the competition we'd been through. On the 5th anniversary of starting BuildRight Solutions, I stood in front of my 50 employees for our annual meeting. 5 years ago, I was told I wasn't good enough, that I'd never be more than a good worker. That hurt more than I could describe. I paused, looking at their faces. But that rejection forced me to build something I'm proud of. Not because I defeated my father, because I proved to myself that I was capable of more than I believed. Today, BuildRight Solutions generates $15 million annually. Harrison and Sons has stabilized at $5 million. Together, the Harrison family companies employ 100 people and serve over 200 clients. But those numbers don't tell the real story. The real story is that I learned what success actually means. It's not about defeating your competition or proving people wrong. It's about building something you're proud of, treating people well, and doing work that matters. My father and I have lunch every month now. We talk about our families, our challenges, our victories. He tells me he's proud of me, and I actually believe him. Kyle finished his MBA and started his own small marketing company. He's doing well, working in a field that suits his talents. Margaret came to visit last year. She walked through both my office and my father's, talking to employees, examining projects. Your grandfather would be so proud, she told us. You both remembered what matters. I've started a mentorship program, helping young people who want to start construction companies, people who were told they're not good enough, who have something to prove, who just need someone to believe in them. Because I remember what that felt like. If you're reading this and you've been rejected, dismissed, or told you're not good enough, remember, that rejection might be the beginning of your greatest success. Use it as fuel. Build something meaningful. Prove them wrong not through revenge, but through excellence. Success isn't about defeating others. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. Subscribe if this story resonated with you. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, you're good enough. You always were. You just needed to believe it yourself.